Hi everyone, and welcome to this presentation of MIDI Transpose, which is one of the menus of the Romagnetics Midynamite. So in order to reach the menu, like every menu, you just press on the menu button and then you can select Transpose, or you can also just press until you can see the MIDI Transpose menu. Now, what is MIDI Transpose? You can see here one of the two modes, pitch shift and MIDI Transpose. We will start with MIDI pitch and we will put it on, and you can see here -5 semitones and send bass yes. So what does that mean? It means that every time I play an F, for example, I will also play the note that is 5 semitones under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right now we're playing both notes, but if I select and press no, then only that C will be played. So this mode is really handy if you want to play a song. Let's say, for example, I only know how to play a song in C major, but someone wants me to play it in E flat, 1, 2, 3. We can do +3, and now if I play a C major chord, it will now be a E flat chord. And if I off, you can see it's the same chord that is being played. So using MIDI Transpose in this way with send bass no, you can transpose the keyboard the way you want. And it can go up to 36, which is +3 octaves, or -36, which is 3 octaves down. Now, while you can use MIDI Transpose to pitch shift your whole keyboard and play the songs you know in one key in the 12 keys, but if you select send bass yes, then you get interesting things. For example, if we do +12, so if I only have the bass, it will sound like that, but if I have 1 octave up, can give you richer bass. So if you do +12, +24, +36, or -12, 24, or 36, it will get you ±1, 2, or 3 octaves. So with +5, which is a perfect fourth, or +7, which is a perfect fifth, once again, -5 and -7 also works. With that, you can play rich melodies, for example. Now this will work for a lot of songs, and it gets really interesting, as we will talk about later. But one of the issues with that is that if you do a fifth up and you play, for example, in C major, the B, a fifth up, is an F sharp, which is not part of the key. So once again, if you want to experiment, that's totally fine, and you can have cool things with that. But let's say, for example, I want to play in C major with a fifth up, but whatever happens, I always want the notes to be within the key. This is where MIDI Transpose come in play. So to go from MIDI pitch shift to MIDI Transpose, it's really easy. You just go to on the shift by semitone and you press select, and now you are in MIDI Transpose mode. So once again, if I press select, here it shifts between the two modes, and this is something that you also have in other menu. Pressing the select button will change the submenu that you're in. And now you can see we have a lot of more options. We have the root note, we have the interval, the scale, and once again send bass. So send bass is what we already saw before. The big change is the root note, the interval, and the scales. So if we do root note C, interval fifth up, for all the notes it's the same except for the B, which will now snap into the grid. And if I try to play sharp notes, for example, let me play a C and a C sharp, you can see it's going to be the same. So when you do the transpose mode, every note is snapped into that grid. So here it's C Ionian. What does Ionian mean? It means major. So if you don't know what this whole scale thing is about, you only need to know two, which are Aeolian, which is the minor mode, and Ionian, which is the major mode. And then you have all your other modes, for example, Dorian. So if you go to Dorian here, for example, D Dorian would be the same as C Ionian. Once again, this is not a theory video. If you don't know how to use it, you can basically use Ionian for major and Aeolian for minor. And if you know your modes, please tell me if Army of Me by Bjork is in Locrian or in Phrygian. This mode works really well with thirds and sixths, so we will take another key, the key of D major. You can see here what you can hear 1/3 up if we do 1/6 down. And once again, there's no wrong notes here, so you can also have fun. You can play whatever you want because every note will be snapped. So you don't need to be afraid to play a song that is not in the key. So for the MIDI transpose, you can go from an octave down. So that's going to be an octave down, a sixth down, a fifth down, fourth, a third down, a third up, a fourth up, a fifth up, and a sixth up, and an octave up. So you have all these intervals you can play with, and once again, just like everything, you can play without the bass. If you want to play a melody that is snapped without having the other interval, you can just select, for example, octave down and just play your melody. As always with the Romagnetics Midynamite, the effects work really well together, so let's see a couple of ways we can use MIDI transpose with other effects. Now, as always, there's a lot of different ways to use this pedal, so these are just a couple of examples, but we're going to see what I personally like to do. One way that I like to use it is 1/5 up, and if you go to the arpeggiator and put it on, if it's off, it's going to give you some nice harmonies that you can work with, but if you arpeggiate them, I think it can get really interesting. Especially if you play seventh. Now it gets weird really quickly, but that's one of the areas where you can have a lot of fun with it. The last option that I would like to present to you today is using MIDI Dispatch with MIDI Transpose. So the way I have it set up now is that MIDI Transpose is -12, one octave lower, and if I go to MIDI Dispatch, I have connected the Midynamite to the Volca FM, so I have out 1 on the Yamaha CP, out 2 on the Yamaha, and MIDI Dispatch will send 1 note to the Yamaha and 1 note to the Volca. So basically the notes will be split, with the lower note being on the Yamaha and the higher note on the Volca. Of course, I can switch that. So now if I play something, I will have the same melody on both, but with 1 octave difference. So if I play a little chord progression, you will have both voices an octave apart, but of course you don't have to do it an octave apart. If I play the same melody but now with -7, so 1/5 down, you can try with 1/4. Will give you the same kind of jazziness. So if you want to see other uses of MIDI transpose, of course it can be used with every menu on the Romagnetics Midynamite. So go to romagnetics.com to check all the manual regarding each menu, how they can be used together, and check the video playlists here down below with all the video tutorials regarding the Romagnetics Midynamite. See you soon on romagnetics.com.